Oh, you got an intro on there? What? Yeah. Oh, snaps. Someone upgraded.
Well, it's been there. It's just boom.
Welcome. I like that. That's that new.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then now we can get us live on the I to the G. Let's
on
go.
IG.
All right, we live everywhere. Man.
Haha.
What up, world? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Welcome to another episode of Technically Speaking, where we are giving you news
that you can use. You already know how we do it.
Yes. Yeah, man. It's glad to be back, man. I missed y'all last week, but I didn't miss y'all because I watched the episode, man. Thank you before I jump into that, everyone, Unstoppable Season just joined us on IG. So we got our co-host, the lovely Bobby with an I, because Y is for a guy. How you doing tonight, man?
Good. I'm tired.
Me? Hey, is it the weather? Because the weather is kind of changing here.
It is. I noticed this morning was a lot cooler. I was in Austin last night. I went to check out the Post Malone concert. It was the last stop for his U.S. tour. Stop. Wow. Austin, Texas last night. Nice. Circuit Americas and stuff. So man, it was packed. It was packed.
What's your favorite Post Malone song?
Probably the new one that he just did with Morgan Wallen. I like that he's an artist that branched out. I like his rap because I like congratulations, but
congratulations.
Hey. 10 seconds and we get a strike.
I like that he branched out and kind of did collabs with like Chris Stapleton and Morgan Wallen, and I like that song. Like I Need Some Help.
Yeah, that's a good song. I like that song. I didn't make this mess all by myself.
Yeah, I didn't make this mess all by myself. And he did a real good job. It was interesting though, his rap though. I was really looking forward. I guess I was going for Thug Post Malone. I got Cowboy Post Malone, so I wasn't sure who I was gonna get. And he ended up doing his songs that he's famous for, but he did everything with a country vibe. It wasn't like the rap that I was expecting. So he was halfway through Rockstar, and I was like, wait a second, those lyrics. I was like, this guy's halfway through his song, and I don't even know because he's using different music, but he's singing the words.
Yeah.
So he knows what time it is. G-Mo said it before in about 10 years.
It was cool though. Everybody on stage had Cowboys jerseys on because he's from Grapevine, Texas and stuff. Hey. So everybody had Cowboys jerseys on, and the guy cusses a lot, but he puts on a good show.
Shout out to the Cowboys. I know we didn't get a good win this last Sunday, but guess what? We fought hard, and guess what? We're gonna fight again next week.
But you know what though,
ladies and gentlemen, that is your other co-host, Corey Giovanni,
hey.
Who is apparently a Cowboys fan.
Die-hard Cowboy fan.
Hey. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing downright awesome. Get it? Downright awesome.
I like
Love the shirt, man.
I like that.
I'm doing good. You know what I'm saying? I had usually, as a creative, we get bounced off from left to right from doing certain things. However, I had made a schedule and I've stuck to it so far because it doesn't end until like about 9:00 tonight. However, I've been having a whole lot of hiccups. However, I stuck to the I stuck to the script. And got the job done so far. So 70%, I'm good.
That's what's up. Hey, you know what? To your point, man, same thing, man. I don't know if either one of y'all seen my calendar, man, but I have literally every single hour allocated to an activity. I learned that years ago, man, that's the successful people, they do that, right?
Yeah.
They schedule out their whole life, they time block everything. So I did it, and I found it helps me with my ADHD. We talked about that with Sarah before. That helps me out a lot. And with that being said, I'm the last co-host of the show, Geronimo, aka Tech Von Go. And Unstoppable Season pointed out something on IG. This is episode 25, y'all. 25.
That means our insurance is gonna go down, dog.
Going down, baby. I can rent a car. The episode can rent a car by itself.
I'm saying, your boy
officially a young adult
too.
Yo. That's what's up. Yeah, man. You were saying something earlier about Post Malone. Oh, Post Malone. My favorite Post Malone song is Wow. I like that. Wow. That wow. That doom.
So I never heard that song, but he sang it last night, and halfway through, I was like, "Hey, man, I can vibe to this."
Yeah,
okay,
that's one of my favorite Post Malone songs.
He played some good music. He reminds me of one of those people that's like you can meet him outside of like all the lights and smoke, and he's like, "Oh, hey, man, what's going on? Appreciate you as a fan." Like he seemed very down to earth. He ended up pulling a fan, I guess, onto stage, and his fan ended up telling him. You could tell they were talking, but away from the microphones. And the fan told him that he knew how to play one of his songs and he was hoping he could sing it. And so they hooked him up. His sound guys came out, put some headphones on this kid, and he just did an acoustic version of the song while singing it a cappella. Real cool. Real cool, man.
Shout out to Post Malone. That's what. So you know what? He seems like the type of guy you just go drink with. I like to go drink whiskey with that dude, man. Like, hey, we need to hook that up. We need to hook that up. We need to get
Post Malone. Come to the show, bro. Come to the show.
Come true. Hey, so speaking of the show, let's jump to it, man. Oh, before we jump to it, I actually wanted to share something. So I told everyone I missed y'all, but I didn't miss y'all because I don't miss anything. I'm watching the show, but I want to share something with y'all because I got a couple of young techies, up and coming techies I still mentor, and one of them just hit me up today, man, and he said that he hopes to be where I am as far as like this cybersecurity career journey, right? And I had told him, man, hope is not a strategy, right? You just got to claim it. You got to claim it, and then you got to make it happen. And like when I said that, I thought about something y'all said on last week's episode about success. It was the 3 S's of success. It was salvation, struggle, and sacrifice. And when I talk to this young man again, I'm gonna show him that clip because it comes out tomorrow, right? On a YouTube short and Instagram Reels. But that resonated with me. Y'all was spitting some game last week, man. Shout out to the show, man. Like Corey Giovanni and Bobby with an I, because Y is for God.
Yeah.
I killed it, man. I love that when y'all said that. So you guys inspire me, man, because like when I was talking to this dude, it's just I'm gonna tell him about the 3 S's. Just do the 3 S's, man. You Gucci.
Yeah.
So, but thank y'all for that. Thank y'all. Y'all killed it, man. So let's jump into it, man.
Well, we appreciate you, brother, and we appreciate the young man who told you what he told you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that man. Hey, what's up, Leilani? She's on IG. What's up, man?
What up, Leilani? Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you get some news out of this podcast that you can use. You did?
Speaking of news, man, so I want to talk about the importance of podcasts and how podcasts just took over everything. Because if you don't know, last Friday, Donald Trump was in Austin. He did a rally in Austin, but I think he just did the rally in Austin because he was there to be on Joe Rogan's show. Yo, I'm going to tell you this.
He didn't do a rally because if he did, I would have been there. He was only there
out there.
He was only there for the podcast.
Nah, he did something. He did a press conference or something out there.
That's different. If he did a press conference, that's different. Trust me. If it was a whole rally.
Well, I stand corrected. He did something in Austin, but it was because he was. Are you sure? Because he apologized for being late. Hold on, man. We're gonna have to.
Hey, bro, that ain't the only thing trending about your boy Trump.
Hey, but you know what? While you're looking that up, I have quite a few friends who follow Donald Trump and see what he's always doing, what he's up against, and staying in the fight and stuff for the presidential seat. But he sent me a link. Shout out to my homeboy Jonathan, sent me a link on Friday. He said, "Hey, this is a link to the Joe Rogan podcast." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Thanks a lot." When I clicked on it, you go immediately to the comments, and it was people fighting to find this podcast because YouTube had shadow banned it. They shadow banned the podcast. And I just saw today that YouTube came out and said that it wasn't deliberate, but people were having to feed through so much crap just to find this podcast. When it's interesting because Joe Rogan is the largest podcaster out there.
You know what? Can I say something? No, it's no
ahead.
shade. It's a bit shade, but it's no shade. I think it's because I think Trump people pulled it. I think his people pulled it because he had a slip of a confession.
A slip of a confession?
Yeah, when he said, when I lost the last election, I didn't lose the last election. I was like, wait, what? And I was like, what? Did he just confess? And then he backtrack? I was like, okay.
Sorry, I missed it. I was looking up that info. So he called it remarks to the press. But they said it was more of a mini rally, so I guess it wasn't an official rally. It looked like one when I saw it, but I know
the one in Madison Square Garden was a rally, bro.
That okay. But what were you saying?
I know we're not talking about that.
So back it up. So Barbara, you were saying we were trying to look for the podcast, right?
Yeah, looking for the podcast, and I went immediately into the comments, and there were people from Zimbabwe, from Egypt, from all sorts of places all over the world who were tuning in to listen to the podcast.
Me too. It took me I couldn't find it till the next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. I'm lying. I think I saw it later that day. I have been looking for it. I was looking on Spotify. I was looking on YouTube. Couldn't find it. I think I found it later that night. But I didn't get a chance to watch it till the next day. And by the time I did watch it, and this speaks to the power of podcasts, right? Especially Joe Rogan, like you said, is the #1 podcaster in the world, right? Right. It had been 12 hours since it was made available on YouTube. It was already over 15 million views, dog.
Yeah, of course.
15. Good googly moogly, man.
Here's the thing, man. Let me just tell you something. Joe Rogan has a following. Trump has a following.
Yes.
So of course you're gonna get everybody, and that's a smart, strategic way to actually release some information. Not release information, but release a podcast. It was like they know he's gonna be on there, but we're gonna put it out and then retract. And then
we everybody creative native too. He said if you're not subscribed to the real, I think what is the real Rogan Experience TRE podcast, the notification it was live. Maybe it was live, but we couldn't, if we weren't watching it live and got the notification, we had to wait till they made it public. Good point. Hey, thanks for pointing that out.
I mean, going forward, anybody that's a good marketing strategy to get everybody know that they're gonna be on, and then they can't find it because it's some exclusive link. Hell, if he had 15 million viewers, like, hey, join this live for $1.
Good point. Hey, I would have paid it.
A lot of people would. 15 million people would.
It was good. I like the podcasting stuff because it's just organic material. People are just sitting here having a conversation. Nobody's like, shut up, you're Hitler, and like all this other stupid stuff. Like it wasn't like that. They were just having a conversation.
Imagine if they could say shit like that. Excuse my language. Imagine if they could say stuff like that. It would be hilarious. But I can't tell you,
he wasn't sitting there with somebody attacking him the whole time. It was just having a
conversation. I mean, that's how Joe Rogan does. It's just a conversation. They talk about the most random stuff, and I will say it was nice to just hear just a conversation, right? It was pretty cool, man. I actually enjoyed it. I watched it twice. It was a good conversation. I enjoyed it. Did you get a chance to watch that, Corey?
No.
Or any of it?
To be honest with you, man. Like, I personally am tired of politics right now. I'm tired of politics. Tired of people running. I can't wait till November 6th. So no, not even November 6th. Because we ain't
there with you, dog.
Huh?
I'm there with you, but go ahead.
I looked online. I was looking on. I think it was Good Morning America, and they were saying how many people are so over politics, and it says 69% people are tired of politics.
Yeah, I'm tired.
And I'm like, I thought I was the only one because every time I turn, you know what I'm saying, I see a Harrison Waltz or I see a Trump and Vance, and I'm like, bruh, let's just get through. Let's get through this. I mean,
let's
okay.
get over with already. Nah, I feel you on that.
My
And
sister ended up turning off all notifications, and she's actually totally off Facebook right now. She was like, I can't. People are just out there losing their ever loving minds.
who is this,
Relationships. My sister.
Oh
I
yeah.
keep sending her stuff, and she's like, sis, I can't see this. I'm not on Facebook. I'm like, why? She's like, I just can't. I can't with all the politics right now. Like, we know where we stand as Christians and politically and policy wise. But she was like, just the amount of ugliness and stuff. I get people either talking crap to me all the time. I had somebody steal my Trump flag this weekend off my car window,
Oh
and
wow.
I was like, "Damn, man, I can't even have a different opinion. I just want you to know I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with people stealing my stuff, and I'm not cool with people taking other people's stuff, regardless of what side, of the aisle you fall on. There's
Yeah.
never a reason." So I told my daughter. My daughter was like, she's 8. She's like, "Did they take our Trump flag?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Bunch of haters." She tells me, "Grace, a bunch of haters." I said, "Well, Mama, listen. Yes, it sucks." I said, "But at the end of the day, they could take our flag, but they can't take the vote. So just remember that." I said,
This
"And
is
that's
true.
okay, because that's just kind of part of the free speech. Not everybody's going to agree with you." I said, "And it's okay, but you can
Yeah.
agree to part ways, and you can be kind to people. You can be kind."
Now,
So,
to your point, you could be kind to people and you could disagree. That's
mhm.
what I did not see a lot of during this whole election season is the lack of kindness. Like, it's hey, you like who you like, you vote for who you want to vote for. It's cool, and keep it pushing, but it's just people want to just it's like yo, chill, dog. Like, it's just,
And you know what? That goes to show some people's character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah, that's
saying?
back on the person.
And it's like, and we're gonna get to this topic because also, you know what I'm saying, we Joe Rogan interviews Trump, Shay interviews Kamala Harris. Um, did I say that name right? Kamala?
yeah,
Kamala.
Kamala.
Kamala. My bad. I want to be respectful to everybody. The thing about it is, and I was saying this, it's funny, I was in the drive-through with my mother. I just picked her up from the hospital because she fell.
Oh
And
no,
thank God she's okay.
good.
Yeah,
You
she fell
okay?
forward. She had she missed a step going down the stairs and she bust like side of her head. You heard the phrase bust your head to the white meat?
Yeah.
That exactly was really what
Oh
happened.
no.
I was like, wow. But she
Dang.
was fine. She went to the hospital. Thank God. She fell forward and not backwards.
Yeah.
She didn't have a concussion. She just split her head open.
Mm.
Which I
Gotta
know
get
that
her
sounds
some
kind of
stitches.
graphic, but she's
Hey, man,
okay.
we keep it real here, man. Shit happens,
Yeah,
man, for real.
it does. But when I was going to a drive-through and the guy didn't take my order, so I had to go all the way to the window to place my order. And he was like, "What do you want?" I was like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "What do you want?" And my wife was like, my mom was like, "Just let him know that you was one place." I was like, "Excuse me?" He was like, "Can I have your order?" I was like, "Okay." Right. And
Mhm.
then I gave him my order, and my mom was like, "Why you were like that?" I said, "Everybody deserves kindness, even me." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Everybody deserves
Yeah,
kindness
yeah.
because I didn't come at him evil. I
Yeah.
could have just
Yeah.
peeled off, right? But I was like, my mom is hungry. She just got out the hospital. That's another thing about hospitals. It's crazy. You go there for like 6-7 hours. When they release you, they ain't feed you. But you know what I'm saying? It's like when you get out there, you still life happens, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everybody's
Yeah.
life is life, but you still need to be kind. And you're right. We didn't see a lot of that during this election.
Not at
Um,
all, man. Not at all.
and hopefully, no matter who gets in office, they're kind. Because there's a lot of bad stuff that's being said, even on both sides of the
Yeah.
fence. But
Yeah.
maybe because I'm pro Kamala, I mean Kamala, Jesus, pro Harris. I'm seeing a lot of hate coming from Donald, which I don't think is possibly him. I do believe it's the media, because the media is a monster, and if you don't tame that monster, it can run rampant.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want nobody doing that to me. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
So
Not at
whoever's
all.
doing that to him, whether you're for him or against him, he deserves kindness.
Mhm.
Whether you're for her or you're not, she deserves kindness. Everybody deserves kindness.
Mhm.
And if we can play by those rules, maybe we can sit down at the table and come to grips and talk about the problems that we have in this country.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, some of these people forget that one, they work for us. We don't work for them.
Yeah.
And two, every single one of them are hella out of touch with society. They're not struggling to go and get groceries, to go and kind of penny pinch here and there to make sure we're saving a little extra money we can because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
They're out of touch, you know. And that goes for people that sit in news anchored positions, the media. Every single one of them are out of touch. I'm like, no,
and that's the reason why
are widely known what y'all make. You know, we know what y'all make,
and that's the reason why podcasts are making such a rise in this industry. I mean, in this time. One, you have the freedom of choice to speak what you want to speak, to say what you want to say. And number two, if you can host a good podcast, you get endorsements. But with those endorsements come restrictions, right?
Yeah.
But you still have a place where you can be able to be safe and get your words out. And you know what I'm saying? The next presidential election is probably going to come down to a podcast. Because think about it. Everybody who had somebody on their campaign, there was Kid Rock for Donald Trump. There's Beyonce for Kamala Harris. They're trying to tap into the younger generation, right? They had Donald Trump had Amber Rose on there, right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? She has a following, so they're trying to make and this goes along with what we're talking about. People are trying to use their level. Connect with their level of influencers or their level of followers to get their point of view made. Because when I saw podcasts pop off, like really, really pop off, I was like, man, this is the new wave. Period. I was just wondering, like who gonna take it? Who gonna really take it there? Joe Rogan did, but you know what I'm saying. But Shay not too far.
Nah, he's not. He's not. Because
he literally makes $1 million a minute off of his shows. And based off of his CPMs from YouTube and all their, not just YouTube, but other brand sponsorships, the cognac he drinks, the Nikes he wears, all those things, like those endorsements.
Isn't it? I got a comment about the Joe Rogan. Creative Native said that when Joe told Trump, you said some wild shit, and Trump laughed and agreed. Epic. Yeah, you watched so basically what he's talking about. There was a part where Trump was talking about how before he started like getting serious with it, media loved him. CNN, I think, is what they were talking about. And then like he was saying like stuff started to turn, and Joe Rogan was saying, yeah, because you said some wild shit. CNN started highlighting it, but it actually did something they didn't think it was gonna do. It actually started making you likable. People started liking you because of the wild shit you were saying. And Trump was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, in the beginning, they talked about in 2015, he was friends with, the women on The View, and he was friends with Whoopi Goldberg, and he had all these friends. And the moment that or at least it felt right, the moment he came down the escalator in Trump Tower and said he was running for president as the Republican, as a Republican, he said that he had lost. I guess some of the respect and that people had looked at him for, but then he also said too, like he had to take everything with like a comedic attitude. Joe Rogan had mentioned that when he was on debating against Hillary, and she was talking about how that he gets to benefit or something from all the tax loopholes, and he's like, who do you think put all those in place? And he told her something about how she'd be in jail. I don't know if y'all do you remember seeing that?
I remember hearing that.
No, you gotta go watch the clip, man. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
it was a mic drop moment for sure. Yeah. He was just quiet, and I remember seeing her like turn her whole body to look at him when he said that.
Yeah, he was just coming out like just gunslinging, bang, bang. But I mean, that's him. You know what I mean? Like,
let's look at it like this. Yeah, back then Trump was an entertainer, right? He was on a reality show. He nobody would assume for him to run for president, right?
Yeah.
But he did. Nobody assumed that he would win, yet he did. You know what I'm saying? So it's I mean, he has to be likable some places. Like even before he even was into politics, the black hip hop community loved him. They was like Russell Simmons and him, T.I. Hell, Steve Harvey was taking pictures with him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of
what happened was when it came out to the Proud Boy situation, and people started seeing some stuff that was like, hey, that ain't cool. And when you hear to stand back and stand by, then they started looking at other situations like, yo,
yeah,
you're not doing anything about this. And then you said they're both from, but you know what I'm saying? Agree. I heard the full clip of the part where everybody was taken out. You know what I'm saying? These are fine people on both sides. There's a lot of things that were clipped out that was said that made him look like a villain. But
he said, except for the white supremacists, they should be totally condemned.
Right. But so that was
pieces
that
of
was
the clip.
That was clipped out. And I think honestly, because I'm not defending him because I don't know him. I don't know Kamala Harris either. But what I do know is if you're gonna go ahead and do something, you should get a fair shot at it, not just already have somebody discounting your character unless you gave them reason to. Right? You know what I'm saying? That's why when like I was on the radio show I was on back then, shout out to the Social Hour, we were like, you know what I'm saying? Trump gonna run for office? We may be rich because he rich, right? So we were all thinking about the money play.
I don't think that ever crossed my mind, man.
You'd be surprised.
Oh, it crossed mine. Because again at that time I wasn't following politics at all. The only thing I was like, as an entrepreneur, right, with the side hustles we have, we gonna get some good tax write-offs. That's the first thing I thought. I'm like, oh yeah, that boy gonna get us some good tax write-offs. That was my initial thought.
Yeah, and then we all know what Hillary did to the black community. She and Bill was heavily involved in the 3 strikes rule in LA. I mean, not LA, in California. So we was like, hell nah. We wasn't really feeling her. But then we started seeing a lot of stuff that the media started. Maybe it was propaganda. Maybe it was smear campaigns. I was like, this is ridiculous. It was almost like the same feeling I felt, honestly, low key, before Kamala Harris ran for president. I was like, this shit is ridiculous. We thinking lesser to evil situation, but then it was like, you know what? Everybody deserves their fair shake. Let's remove what we're being fed and let's talk and speak about what we know.
You really got to do your due diligence, you know, because unfortunately the media, I've said this before on this podcast. I've said this before. The media is the biggest enemy of the American people. You have your due diligence and go and research. Don't take and get spoon-fed this crap from any media outlet.
But let me just say this.
Seek those.
The January 6th situation, that right there was not cool.
Do you know anybody, Corey, who was involved in January 6th?
Do I know any? The whole nation was. But
no, man. No.
You mean like personally?
Like people that were there.
Do you have friends who were involved in that and who saw stuff firsthand? Okay.
No, but I saw it on the news. I watched it live as it happened. Not clip bites, not any of that.
Right. So there was so much stuff that never got put on the media, where I called friends who I knew were there and they said, don't even bother looking at the TV. They're lying. They're talking all this crap. There was all this stuff put in there. They didn't show the people, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, holding hands, praying, talking with one another, the love. And like none of that was ever shown.
But
they only showed these crazy people.
But this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how our country looked.
Yeah, we look bad.
We look bad. Another nation.
We look bad.
We look extremely bad to another nation. We look like we didn't have our shit together. if you know what I mean.
We did not
we did not look like a unified country. We did not look like the United States of America. We did not look like a strong country. If we're supposed to be the most powerful country, that should not have happened. It should not have happened, and it should not got out to the media because there was other people in other countries who saw that.
So, yeah, and you're right though. It should have never happened. There was Donald Trump knew that he felt like something was going to go down, and he told Pelosi that we need to bring in the National Guard, and she already said like, no, we're not doing none of that. And there's some parts where it's like you're not working together with the candidates to try to prevent something from happening whenever you go.
I don't think they brought that up on the Joe Rogan interview, did they? I don't think they talked about that.
No, but I heard that. I heard that he reached out to Nancy Pelosi.
She told him no. Yeah, she told him no, that she would not provide any additional extra security. And so it's like, well, you're kind of setting up, setting the tone. You want to preach peace over here, but yet you're like, no, deal with it your own self type of attitude.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think we all can agree that it just made us look bad. Right, wrong, or indifferent. The reason why I think the reason why it doesn't matter is the fact that it happened.
It happened.
Bad. You know what I mean? Like, let's get back to that Joe Rogan interview though. So what are some other highlights from that interview, Bobby, that you can share?
He talked about, because they were just having a conversation. He talked about the first time he had went into the White House before he was going to get escorted, I guess, to the presidential headquarters. He talked about wanting to go to the Lincoln room, the Lincoln bedroom to go.
Yeah, he did talk about that Lincoln room.
Yeah. So he was talking about how Barron, his son, he's 6'9". I had no idea that kid was that tall.
Tall
and
dude.
Stuff. And so I think he had said that Lincoln was like 6'4", 6'6".
Lincoln was very tall.
And so they had to make a special elongated bed just for him. And so they think Trump said that that's the first thing that he wanted to do was go and see the
Lincoln room. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And kind of stand in that history for just a second, which I thought was cool. I've never heard him talk about that before.
Nah, that was different.
Yeah, getting to talk about, and I can kind of see it, especially too, because Joe brought up pictures of it and stuff, and he talked about like the pictures that were inside of it, that Abraham Lincoln had lost his son or something, and that they had like little pictures of him in there and stuff, and it was just very almost you're standing in a piece of history, and so it was almost in awe at that and stuff, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
That was cool. And he was talking about how there was a passage that was written into the headboard. With the image carved in of his son, Lincoln's son that he lost, right? I think his name was Tim something. Lincoln, I think, was the son that he lost.
Something like that.
That was pretty cool for him to break that down. And I like the question that Joe Rogan asked. He asked him like, how did it feel? Like, how did it feel like your first day there? Like, man, you're in there, you're president now. Like, what did that feel like? And Trump said it was surreal. He said that even when he got shot, he didn't feel like it was surreal when he got shot. He was like, I knew what was happening. I knew I was hit. But that first day being in there was like, I could have never imagined it. And he was talking about the surrealness of it. And that's when he went into the Lincoln room, right? Talking about it. He was like, look, man, I sell luxury. That's my business. And he was like, but even I've never seen anything like this. And the way he was describing it, I was like, damn. I was like, that's if you can impress Trump, like you doing it. So shout out to the people that maintain and upkeep the White House, man. Because
that's a whole job. You take groups of people who I don't want to say sacrifice, but they give up a lot of their time to work there for the upkeep of the White House.
So it was a pretty good interview, man. There was a couple of things that stood out. I learned something, right? Because we've said it a couple of times before on this show where we always ask, why don't politicians just answer the question? Whatever question it is, we rarely get a yes or a no, and then an explanation of what it is, right? And they talked about that, and I learned the term. Donald Trump called it the weave. and I was the weave,
bob and weave,
the bobbing and weaving, and it's funny because Trump had talked about it, then he started doing it, and then it was a couple of times that Joe Rogan had to will him in. He was like, "Okay, let's bring it back. Let's stop the weave and let's come back."
Yeah.
But that's I don't know if that's the official term, right? But that's it. Because Trump explained it. He was like, yeah, because he was even saying that when I do the weave, I eventually come back. Other people, they'll do the weave and end up in the wild or something. That was pretty interesting that he broke that down. But now I'm understanding what that is. Say what?
No, as somebody who just likes to hear the meat and potatoes of everything, which I think most of us do. Like, hey, don't give me another.
Let's get to the point.
Don't give me no sidetrack. Is yes or no, and if it is yes, why yes, and if it's no, why no? That's it.
Hey man, one thing I hate is when people answer a question with a question. I hate that, and that's the number one pet peeve I got this whole election season. So like, and I'm calling both sides out: the Kamala supporters, the Trump supporters, all of them. Because remember, I'm an independent. I'm not really a supporter of anybody. I'm just looking at what you gonna do for me, damn it. Because let's keep it trill 100. Politics is quid pro quo. You gotta offer me something compelling that's gonna get my vote. You know what I mean? Right. Straight up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I gotta like what you're selling in order for you to get my vote. That's it, right? Yeah. Damn it, I lost my point. What was I saying?
We're talking about like the bobbing and weaving and people not answering questions like straight or answering a question with a question.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, answering the question with the question. When people are sending me stuff, right? Like I'll ask, let's say a Kamala supporter, right? One question, and then they'll answer that question with a question about Donald Trump. I'm like, why are we talking about Donald Trump? I asked you a question specifically about Kamala and her campaign. Like, what does anything have to do with that? Or on the Trump side, if I ask a question specifically about Trump, they'll just go on this whole journey. Well, why does the media do this? And I'm like, what does that have to do with my question? I asked you this about Trump.
Well, real talk, man. You know what I'm saying? I think honestly, that like you said, they bobbing and weaving because they know that their core they're not pushing for their core fans. Yeah, they're doing a matrix. They're not pushing for the core fans. They're pushing for those the swing states and the people the crew that's undecided. Right? They're pushing for those. So they want to make sure that they are appealing to them. Me personally, had I been in politics, I've been straight shooter. I'd be like, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is this and that and that. Red is red and blue is blue. I understand for the reason for the weaving, so they can be able to say, like, I didn't say that. I said I made mention around woo woo woo.
Good point. No. Yeah, good point.
And you know what I'm saying? We should be grown enough and civil enough to be like, you know what? This is what it is. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. It'll be bad for television, but it'd be good for the candidate.
Good point. Because then now we kind of like, just tell me what it is, man.
Yeah.
And speaking of telling what it is, switching gears to the Shay Shay interview, I got to rush in to watch it. I got a chance to watch the whole interview because it was only like an hour. The Joe Rogan one was like 3 hours. And again, I watched it twice just because I want to, before we talk about stuff, I want to know. And I was the undecided, right? Being an independent. So I was taking in as much as I could from both sides to try to figure out, okay, which way am I going, right? And the biggest thing I took from that was listening to them pointing me to their policies, right? Because again, I'll reiterate, I don't do politics. I never paid attention to it ever, period. So since we started this show and it started coming up, I had to take a crash course in civics, right? And my reference point had to be policy, right? So I would hear something from either side. I'm like, okay, let me go read the policy and see what that says. Both sides, right? So fast forward to Shay Shay, right? Just like Joe Rogan kind of was a different taste of a conversation with Trump, Shay Shay's was the same thing, his version for Kamala. because he was asking some real questions, man. The one question that stood out to me was he asked about her mom. He was asking, hey, you know, you lost your mom. Explain that. And she was talking about how she lost her mom to cancer and how that whole journey was and everything she went through. I never heard any of that before. You know what I'm saying? And he went even deeper and was asking, how did that make you feel? Like, what did you have to do? Like, explain it all. And she was talking about how the struggles she went through, taking care of her, having to cook with her. It was I hate that happened to her, you know what I'm saying? But people connect through vulnerability, you know what I'm saying? And it allowed me to kind of see a different side. I'm like, you're human, you know what I mean? Like, I never knew that. Like, I know her mom is not with us, but I never knew why. So that was, and I think that's something that regular people could connect to. You know what I'm saying? We get people, family that get sick. We got to take care of our families, our elders, and stuff like that. Kudos to Shay Shay for asking that line of questioning. Right. You know what I'm saying? To where it's where Joe Rogan was having that kind of like humanization type of questioning for Trump. Shay Shay was doing his version of that for Kamala. So like kudos to both of them for that. Because I'm always watching the prime podcasters and I'm taking notes like, oh, okay. Right. Okay. So he did a real good job getting that type of info out of her. If y'all didn't get a chance to watch it, y'all got to watch. It's a good interview. I mean, of course, she goes into her journey where Trump will start just rambling about random stuff. She will just start going off her bullet point scripts. You know, they that's their own version. The Trump would ramble about stuff. Joe Rogan did a good job most of the time bringing him back because there were times on that interview. I'm like, what was the question again on the Trump? I'm like, he would ramble about so much stuff. I'm like, I forgot what the question was. Kamala on Shay Shay would do her version of it, which would just start going off her bullet points, right? That she normally goes. I'm like, okay, dog, we know this, Kamala. Like, tell me something else. Like, but good job to both of them. Those both of them were great interviews. And to your point, I think podcasting, you're right. I think it's more powerful than traditional media nowadays. That's where I go to get my information.
But not only that, you hold people accountable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the media, they can go ahead and put out something out there, and then you go search for it, it's gone, it's taken down.
Or they edit the hell out of the interview. Yeah, that's what I don't like in podcasts. When it's live, it's said, it's out there.
It's out
nothing
there.
New, you know?
Right. Because nothing's removed off the internet. It's just great.
There's unless you get a copyright strike and YouTube blocks it.
Yeah, but then they have it. They remember that. They're like, hey, how many strikes you got? Let's check.
And if you're a Diddy, it might resurface.
No more Diddy.
The worst time.
Let me look. Speaking of, since we mentioned his name, let's do something real quick.
What's up?
Diddy, his family is starting an online television series, I believe. And it's going to talk. They're going to try to highlight and show. Yeah, they're going to try to highlight and showcase the positive sides of the family and also how things are affecting it. However, I think they're also being strategic about this because they know this No Diddy has been popping up everywhere and now people have been talking about it. So
are they going to name it No Diddy?
No, but if they did, guess what? And they copyright it, guess what? Anybody use it can be what?
Yo, they could get sued.
Yeah, and everything that has been on, you know what I'm saying, people using it casually.
We can take it down.
You feel what I'm saying?
We should hurry up and go copyright that ourselves. Let's go. Come on.
If it's there, then yeah, but nah. See, I mean, I'm just saying that, like,
I got a question for IG. Would y'all be down to pitch in on that? Everyone, let's all pitch in and let's all copyright No Diddy. So that way we could be the ones that can control it and be like, hey, if you want to use it, you got to pay us a royalty. I think that's it right there. That's the come
I'll do it.
Well, here's a question with that. Diddy is already a copyright, right? Because he's copywritten it under as an artist name. So if you do No Diddy, do he gets proceeds, or are we able to do that?
Hey, holler at your to let us know when we could talk.
I ain't wasting no money on my attorney about no Diddy, bro. I ain't wasting no money on that. We could just stop saying it because real talk, 50 Cent probably monetized it already. I promise you. You go look at No Diddy on the trademark and it says Curtis Jackson G Unit or G Unity.
No, I went to I went inside the little Spirit Halloween store to see if I could find like a little accessory, something I was looking for. And as soon as I walk in, the first thing I see is Hot Tua on a shirt. It says "spit on that thing," and I was like, "What in the world? Somebody's trying to be the Hot Tua girl."
Oh God,
it's been a while since I heard from Hot Tua.
Oh my God.
Hey, that's the secret to a successful relationship right there. Very bright young lady right there, man.
Is it though?
Corey. Is it though?
Yo, so switching gears, man. Next up, man. Hey, my question for everybody and for you too, IG. Is the new Blade movie gonna come out ever? I
have a quote.
What's up?
In the great movie of Wolverine and Deadpool, there was a man named Blade in that movie.
It was
the first Blade, and he had a rocket launcher on his shoulder, and he said, "There's only one Blade. There's only ever going to be one Blade." And then the camera zoomed into Deadpool, and then the rocket launcher took off. So I'm sorry, Marsha Ali, I think his name. Yeah, he would have made a great Deadpool.
He would have. I think not. No, Blade.
I mean, great. Yeah, he would have made a great Blade. However, unfortunately, it seems like Blade is kind of like, it's almost like, I wouldn't want to call it like cursed, but it's like every time somebody wants to go ahead and do it, because they had 3 scripts already.
It's not working now.
It's just not working. So what they may do, they may put him in an Avengers movie. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not making another Eternals movie. That movie trashed.
Yeah,
Marvel, you should. We all had to see. We had to go to the movie theaters, fearing that we're gonna catch COVID, to see that long, boring movie, and then it came back on Disney Plus.
2 hours of my life back, man.
Bruh, I was like, Marvel, you couldn't. This is the first time I was disappointed at Marvel.
Doo-doo.
Like, so they may spin him in with some other movies with the Eternals, because not the one of the characters in that movie is tied to the Blade.
Yeah. Was it Black Knight? Black Knight, I
think.
Yeah. We got a comment from Creative Native about will we get the new Blade movie? He said, "Hope not. There's only one Blade.
There's only one Blade. There's only gonna ever be one Blade."
And I'm there with both of y'all, man. Just bring Wesley Snipes back, man. Just bring him back. Just bring him back, man. He already proved he could do it, because he killed it. He killed it.
And man, his stunt double was on point.
He fit that role perfectly.
Walkout, man, I was like, is it? Yo,
bruh, I was in the theater. I was like, yeah, Blade, we got Wesley in the movie.
Yeah, man.
I was hyped. I was
hyped too, man. Just bring Wesley back. That's the answer to that. What were you saying, Bobby?
Nothing. He played the role well.
He killed it. He killed it.
He really did.
And you know what they said? I watched this guy on YouTube. I can't think of his channel now, but so I won't say it. But they were talking about how Blade is the oldest Marvel character in the MCU.
He said everything in motion. He was the first MCU franchise. I remember someone said that a while ago. I'm like, damn, I never put that together. Yeah, they're right. Like his character in his movie is what proved it could be done.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Done right. Like, it wasn't like, I totally forgot Blade was a Marvel character because of the fact that it was just so good of a movie. I just thought it was like a vampire movie. Right.
And I used to read the Midnight Suns comic books. Completely.
See, I didn't even know nothing about Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns, dude, that was like they were the ones that did like all of the like the vampire werewolf type stuff. You know what I mean? Nice. That was them. It was you had Morpheus. It was Morpheus, Blade, and who else? I think Ghost Rider.
Based off of what I was reading, Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Bring Blade back. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
BBB. My man said BBB.
There you
bring Blade back.
There you go. Well, Wesley Snipes. So
Wesley.
switching gears, we going into the make it make sense, and you're gonna have to drive us on this one, Bobby.
Yes.
Get you some coffee or something, because I feel you, girl.
Sorry, sorry, y'all.
So
I'm here.
It makes sense. The name of the episode and this topic right here is meeting in the ladies' room. And I wanted to use that because Bobby shared the story, but I couldn't help but to think about the old school song, and hopefully we don't get a copyright strike that we gotta meet in the ladies' room.
I actually know somebody who works for that group now.
Oh yeah,
yeah, she's real cool. She does promo for them.
Oh, that's what's up, man. Next time I come out there, I want to go to a concert or something. So before you tell your story, I want to share something. So if you listen to that song, it highlights the different time we live in, right? Because at the end of that song, she says, "Don't slap me because I'm not in the mood. Don't slap me because I'm not in the mood." So like apparently, I don't know if it was acceptable to slap women back then. But imagine saying that now in today's culture.
When are you ever in the mood to be slapped is the question that I got.
I don't help us out, Bobby. We're men. I don't understand.
I guess if we're in the mood, if you put hands on me, I'm putting hands right back on you.
I went different because I'm thinking like, okay, so you're not in the mood. Why would you have to tell me don't slap me? But then I'm thinking,
in the mood now. Just go ahead and slap me right now.
But no, see, I'm thinking like, you know what I'm saying? They in a mood. they in motion, and then like, but just don't slap me. I'm not ready for that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, you got emotion.
Got some 50 Shades of Grey going on over there, man. Hey.
I got a story about that, but that's for another episode.
All
right, so get us going. So what brought us to meeting in the ladies' room? Tell your story if you don't mind, Bobby.
Yeah, I'll tell you what happened. I'm gonna preface my story though by saying that we go back to what I said in the beginning, which is about being kind to others. And my opinion does not come from a place of hate, but just a place of concern. That's all. So we had a conference at our building this past weekend, and there is a transgender individual on one of the teams. And I heard this person is a hell of a software developer. That is fantastic. I'm so glad that they are able to have a good career where they're able to shine in that manner. So I'm coming out of the restroom with a friend of mine, and she and I are talking, and I open up the door, and this guy, he's like 6'1", 6'2". He's got blue hair, does not dress as a female. But even if he did, it really wouldn't matter because of the way that I'm going. I told Dramo, I'm not going to say he scared me, but he definitely caught me off guard because I was not expecting him to be there. And the reason why I say that is the area in our building where our restrooms are, there's only like a 4-foot gap between men's door and women's door. It is a small area. So when I opened it up, he caught me off guard. And I'm over here thinking to myself, like, what are you doing? Why are you right here in this space? And he was coming into my restroom as I was walking out of the bathroom. And this is one of my concerns, was because I ended up talking with our building manager because I wanted to know if there was policy about this. And because it's a commercial building, they can't really say whether or not somebody can or can't use the restroom that they choose to identify with. When I brought it up to the building manager, she originally thought that I was talking about like a transient, because we do have a very large homeless population literally on the other side of our building, right in that area of downtown San Antonio where we work in. So I imagine they've had this issue happen before where homeless people are trying to get into our building to use the restroom, to use the facilities. And so she thought originally I was talking about, a guy that, was like a homeless dude or something. And I was like, no. And then she kind of closes her laptop and she tells me, come with me to point them out. I said, no, you're not about to pull me in there. I'm not trying to lose my job. I'm just telling you I'm concerned about this small space and the area that I'm using the restroom in. And I, though I don't have anything against grown folks who feel the way that they feel on the inside or whatever, but that doesn't matter. What matters is what happens in that space. When I go into a restroom, I should never feel like some dude's gonna come in there. And that's what I'm saying. How do we address that? And I came to Geronimo because he's my confidant. And I can come to him and I know that I can tell him, hey, this is my train of thought. Let's talk about this. Let's make it make sense, because how are you gonna address a concern if let's say there's hypothetically there's 9 million women in the United States and there's 1,700 men that identify as a woman. How do we address the concern of the 9 million women that don't want the 1,700 in their spaces? How do we address that without making waves? And without anybody trying to say you're transphobic, because I hate that word, because phobic is meaning a phobia, a fear of, and it's not a fear of. You know what I mean? But there are issues, and we're living in a culture where it's like, oh, just shut up and deal with it, and I'm not okay with that.
I think that you gotta create the waves, because without no waves you can't surf. And I'm done. I'm just kidding.
Okay, Mr. Barr, he just came up without no waves. You can't surf. Okay.
Absolutely.
Big question mark looms over there. Like,
no, seriously, because I think it's we gotta have those conversations, man, because you never know. You know what I'm saying? And I'll start with this. So y'all don't know this yet, but we have a guest coming pretty soon. He has a book coming out that talks about his journey. He was born hermaphrodite, had both, right? So at the age of 5, his parents chose for him to be a girl. But his whole life, he identified and felt like a man, a boy, right? So he went through the process to reverse that. And he has a book coming out. And I talked to him a few weeks ago. And his publication company that he's with is actually lining him up with all like the primetime shows, but he did agree to come here first. And I was like, hell yeah, let's get you before the price goes up. So he's gonna come on here to share that journey and promote the book, right? And I brought that up because when I first met him, he was her, right?
He was her.
And someone that was my sis became my bro. Very unique journey, right? And he shared with me sometimes that he kind of clashes with the trans community, because what's happened to him is some people in the trans community has kind of stolen his journey and used it as their own, but it's a completely different journey. You know what I'm saying? Completely different. It's not the same. You know what I mean? Like when you had both and your parents chose, but then you didn't get to choose, but now you want to go back. You know what I'm saying? And I say that to say is, you got to have the conversations and maybe be like, hey, what's going on here? Like, do you know? Are you lost? And
yeah,
I said earlier, like, we connect as human beings through vulnerability, to where we don't know. Maybe that person is like my friend who went through that journey of, hey, I'm just wearing this for now. I might be transitioning back. You know what I'm saying? That could be something, but you will never know if the conversation is not had, to where it will create waves to start that conversation, but no one would know. Like because I remember when he told me originally what he was about to do, and I was like, that's what's up. So basically, I got a sis, but you about to be my bro. And the first question she at the time asked was, you cool with that? You still gonna be my friend? I'm like, yo, you my peoples. Like, you've been nothing but genuine and good to me this whole time. I don't care what you are, you know what I'm saying? As long as you good to me, you my peoples. I just, and it took me a while to get used to. I would have to correct myself because I would always say, my fault, hey bro, you know what I mean? Like, but you don't know someone else's journey without having that conversation. You know what I'm saying?
And so this brought up one of the key things that I was telling Gmo when I was talking to him about that is in these situations, there are obviously full-grown men who don't dress like women, who feel like a woman, and they go into women's spaces not knowing that they're probably triggering past sexual trauma perpetrated on them by men in these small spaces. You know what I mean? Like just the amount of women who have been sexually assaulted. You know, I've talked about this before. I talked to you about this. I have PTSD with MST, that's military sexual trauma. So I do not like males in my spaces. Only male that's allowed in my space is my husband, and that is it. That is it.
Yeah.
You know, and anybody else, like, I think this is a no-go. And I talked about this with another friend of mine. He said he called it the fence conclusion. Why everybody's trying to figure out what side of the fence they're on without questioning why there's a fence to begin with. And these are the original boundaries. These boundaries are set in place to keep people safe.
Yeah.
Feel how you feel. However, because you have a dick, you need to go over here. Because you have a vagina, you need to step over here. And we keep these things separated for the safety and for the peace of everybody there. But now there's people be like, no, screw that. You need to shut up. You need to deal with what I feel like. And F you and your sexual trauma. I'm going to stomp all over this place. And there have been people like that. That's why I'm like, oh, is that what we're doing?
Now, anyone that just excuses the trauma, wrong on them, right? And at the same, so I mean, sorry for what you went through, first and foremost, right? No one should have to go through that at all. So that's not excusable, especially if it happened in the military, right? So shame on them, because you're serving our country to keep Americans safe. You should be able to feel safe as you're doing that. You know what I mean? Exactly. And I will also follow that up with again, we connect through vulnerability. I don't think we can assume anyone knows anyone else's trauma, right?
Yeah. Nobody's out there, you know, talking about it openly with random people.
Yeah, and so, like, I mean, because I'm sure we all here and everyone on IG may have their own set of triggers, right? But I can't be assumed to know anyone else's trigger at all. I might trigger you and didn't even know it. But if we don't have a conversation about it, I don't know that's a trigger. You know, and that's why I started out with, you got to create waves, man. Sometimes conflict is good because through conflict, you can have a conversation to be like, hey, man, I don't know, man. You got me like this. What's up? And then game on. Now we can have a conversation of, hey, you know, I don't want to put this out there. There might be something going on. Maybe I'm in transition, different versions of transition, to be like, I don't mean to trigger you like that, but this is what's going on with me. You know what I'm saying? Simple conversation. It's tough to start that conversation, I think, because I think we've gotten to that point that you were talking about through different type of fences to where no one wants to talk these days. Like, what you think, Corey?
I think the problem is people don't want to talk because they don't know what to say, or they don't want to be offensive and fear of being canceled.
Yeah,
but I do.
Or in my case, losing my job.
Yeah, like, no, that's
how
extreme.
do I correctly bring this up? You know, how do we address that without me, you know, feeling that there's a fear of, you know, reprisal? You know,
do you guys have like an anonymous? Those things hardly work, but I mean, something that you can keep track of, a track record of the things you've done. So in the event, if you do have some type of job at risk situation, you can say, hey, I followed this protocol that the company put in place. I followed these guidelines. I was morally respectable towards the situation. And you know what I'm saying? And you wanted to bring light to a situation that personally happened. You know what I'm saying? Something that was an effect.
I was told later on that I could go use the restroom on the 3rd floor. Mind you, I already have to walk a ways to get to the restroom to begin with, but then to hear that I can use the restroom on the 3rd floor, meaning I'll have to wait additional time to get up the elevator or go up this stairs just to go and find the restroom in a part of the building I've never been in. I was like,
right.
I don't know if I can get on board with that.
I thought I asked it, but maybe I didn't. So again, going back to the creating the waves, simple. Hey, what's going on? Did that happen? Like with that person, right? To say, hey, what are you doing here? To uncomfortable situation, right? Two people, two different realities, right? Two different stories, two different paths. We don't know. Those two paths collide, right? Was there ever at any point of conversation kindness, right? Was there any type of kindness to say, hey, what's going on here? Why are you in my space, person? You know what I'm saying? To where now that gives that person to tell you as much as they feel comfortable sharing. I don't know. Did that happen? Because I don't anonymous stuff, yeah, cool, talking to other managers and stuff like that. But right then and there, I'm wondering if that conversation was had with that person.
No, because I was going out and they were coming in, and I don't think that was probably the right moment, especially too. Like I think that I wasn't in the right headspace. I want to make sure that if I come across with a sensitive topic like this, that it comes across in a way that seems to be understanding and out of concern, not out of hate. However, no matter which way you slice and dice that, no matter which way you may sound, your tone can be very sweet, and they will be like, take it completely different because I'm not in agreement. Or they'll think that like I'm not in agreement with the lifestyle. And I'm like, no, it's not that. It's just when it kind of bleeds over into my area, this is the only time I have a problem with it. Yeah. Other than that, you do you. You do you. It doesn't affect me until it does.
Yeah. And because I think that's it right there. I mean, I think we just need to get better at having those tough conversations. You know what I mean? Because at this point, there's still no understanding. From what I'm seeing through either side of the fence, you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, because I learned that this through my journey and going through therapy and stuff like that is if I don't know there's a problem, I can't fix it. You know what I mean? And oftentimes there's a misunderstanding. Most of the time it's a misunderstanding to where maybe that person just doesn't know your background and what you've had to deal with to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know I triggered you. But this is what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? And this person may have their own set of trauma. And I could tell you, my friend that's going to come on the show, his name is Zante. Shout out to Zante. He's had, his set of traumas that he's went through and being picked on and stuff like that. But if you don't know him like I know him, you would never know that. And maybe he got judged doing his journey and stuff like that. And maybe he was quote unquote somewhere he wasn't supposed to be at different times. You get what I'm saying? But you don't know unless you have that conversation. You like, your pain is real. I'm wondering if there's some other pain with the other person. You know what I'm saying? To where it takes a conversation. And it could just be to the side. You had time to cool down, calm down, you know what I'm saying? To be like, hey, can we talk? Just a straight up human to human. And there should not be any reprisal with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about I'm looking at it from Bobby's point of view though. Like she's coming from out of a safe place. And then boom, she doesn't feel so safe. You feel me? Like it wasn't and Bobby, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? You and your girls chit-chatting coming from a, you know what I'm saying, place where you guys familiarly going to all the time, nothing normal, and then you open the door and you see somebody walking into a space that once was safe. Now it's not because they're walking in. And now, after that happened, it's not so safe anymore. Am I right?
No, that's
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And again, I go back to the reason why is it not safe, right? It is perception, right? Perception is reality. And everyone has their own reality. On the outside surface, like looking in, right? Maybe it felt unsafe because maybe you saw a man going into somewhere a man is not supposed to go, right? Is that kind of safe to say?
Yes.
Yeah, right. But
I feel like, I don't know, maybe that's common sense to me, but obviously that's not a common thing now.
We live in strange times, man. Like I told y'all before, I like to get weird. I got weird friends, you know what I mean? And that's again, I'll go back to the story of Zante, who maybe have been in a similar situation like that before he reversed the process, right? Maybe that happened to him. Maybe he, when she was a she, may have went to the men's restroom because that's what he identified as, and maybe that set off some alarms with someone not knowing what he was going through. You know what I'm saying? So again, you don't know what someone else is going through unless you ask. Yes, I get it. The whole common sense thing, right? It's only common if we're on the same page. You know what I'm saying? But we don't get a chance to get on the same page unless we have a conversation. Like, so, go ahead.
I've also told everybody, y'all know that I'm a girl mom. And so as a girl mom, you want to do and take specific measures to make sure that your kids don't fall into the same situations that maybe you had previously been in. And so because of that, I'm a real big proponent of, while I don't have anything against anybody in the transgender community, there are going to be people who are dark and filled with lust for children. These pedophiles are going to take advantage of those types of things where people can get hurt. And I'm not here to wait until that happens, because by then it's too late. You know, one child or one woman touched inappropriately, that's too many.
Yeah.
One is too many. We have the fences for a reason. You don't have to like the fences, but when we talk about peace and safety for everybody, the fences are up for a reason.
100%, 100%. And what you're talking about are molesters. That's bad, right? Like I said, we got to create waves. Let's just call it what it is. What you're talking about are molesters and predators.
People call them MAPS. My sister works in the JAG office. She's a paralegal, and she says,
Can you say that slow?
MAPS, MAPS, or
MAPS, MAPS.
And your sister works in the
JAG office.
Thank you.
What's JAG for those that don't know?
Yes. So JAG is the Judge Adjutant General. It's all the legal people. All the legal people fall under JAG. Your lawyers, your paralegals, your legal specialists, all of these people fall under JAG. So my sister, because she's a paralegal, had to go through special training where they talked about these people called MAPs. They are minor attracted persons. These are pedophiles, and they are being given a legal name because I'm not mistaken. Corey, correct me if I'm wrong. California is trying to legalize MAPS, make it okay for they're predators. Make those relationships
real quick. Just to show like how much I understand what you're saying. I've turned in 2 MAPS based on what you're describing, right? So when I early in my cybersecurity career in the military, we caught 2 people. Well, during my career, I caught 2 people that had stuff they wasn't supposed to have on government military drive. I remember the first time I found it, well, it wasn't me, it was one of my airmen found it, came to me, and it was one of those uncomfortable situations, like Sergeant Reynolds, and they didn't want to say it. I'm like, dude, just spit it out, dog. And he told me what they found, right? It was videos. No questions asked, dog. I'm turning you in. I've done it twice. People escorted out by our federal agents in the Air Force, which is OSI, in handcuffs, in uniform. I don't play. Zero tolerance. You know what I mean? So zero tolerance, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? That is wrong. And again, I'm snitching. When I tell people I'm snitching, I'm turning you in. I've turned people in, and I'll turn them in again. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's like Pharrell Williams said, don't do it around me, because I'm snitching.
Don't do it around me. Well, here's the thing. Snitching doesn't determine. The term snitching is not for civilian, right? It's for those who actually are in the streets.
In the streets, yeah. I'm being facetious, but you get what I'm saying.
I'm gonna tattletale. I'm gonna tell it. Because guess what? I'm on my freedom, and if I know you doing something wrong and I don't say anything, my freedom is compromised.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true.
And going back to that, and again, I'll keep going back to the story that I shared, because there's different ways to say it, right? Young Jeezy said, walk a mile in my Air Forces. You know what I mean? Another way of saying that is, I think just as a society, we can get better at trying to see things through other people's lenses. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's safe to say I don't know if you had a chance to try to look at it through that person's lens because you just didn't have a conversation with them. You know what I mean? I think if you can have a conversation with that person to kind of try to see it through their lens, and then they can get a chance to see it through your lens, maybe there could be some type of understanding. Because right now, we don't know. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. That person doesn't know what you're dealing with and what they triggered because they triggered you, right? They don't know that. But then you also don't know maybe what they're going through because that person could be in transition. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? And it may or may not be our business to know, but I think you are in the situations where it is your business to know now. You know what I mean? Because until you do, it's just left open to go in so many different directions. But until we have that hard conversation, we just don't know. There's a problem there that's not is left unsolved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, it's just because we just don't know the other people. None of y'all know what's going on through the other person's lens. You know what I mean?
But also, too, I mentioned this person was only there for the conference. I know of this person. While I've never had a conversation with them, I know what team they're on and stuff. They don't sit in San Antonio. They're in a different state. And in that state, what we're talking about is very much allowed and celebrated and applauded and stuff. And so
I could be onto something, you know what I mean? But you don't know until you ask, like, hey, we in Texas, you know what I mean? Like for example, I remember someone told me I didn't have the same manners as a Southern gentleman. Well, I am not from the South, so I'm not gonna have Southern manners. I'm from Southern California.
Which is not the same.
It's not the same.
Not the same.
But I couldn't tell that person, my side of the story until they told me theirs. Like, hey, you're not a Southern gentleman, are you? No, I'm not. I'm a Southern California gentleman. We're different.
Yeah. we played outside in the dark.
There you go. There you go. So I just think, and because I wanted you to share the story and we have this conversation because kind of going back to what we talked about earlier, there's so many differences that are out there. And Corey, you said it. We are, and you too, Bobby, we are more alike than what we think we are, but we don't get a chance to understand that and share kindness. We don't talk to each other. And I say that because you will probably run into this person again at some point, right? Now it's going to be weird and awkward until we have a conversation. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that person might see you and might try to avoid you with something because they don't know what's going on. The energy, you can't fake the energy, dog. Like the energy is going to be weird until that it's addressed. You know what I mean? And I think this is one scenario, but it's so how many scenarios just run wild and people get hurt and bad things happen because we didn't take the time to just talk it out. You know what I'm saying? I think it's worth doing that for any type of misunderstanding. You know what I'm saying? I think it's worth it. Take it for a grain of salt, but I think we could solve more problems if we're willing to cause rifts and waves and just talk through it. We ain't got to agree. You know what I mean? We can agree to disagree, but at least you know where I stand and why you made me feel like the way I felt. You know what? And now maybe I might know that I may have make you feel some kind of way. Yeah. Or you might find out that, oh, snaps, I was walking in the wrong bathroom. My fault.
But I don't.
Say what?
Yeah, no, I was just saying, I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure they knew exactly where they were going.
You know what? I hear you. I'm gonna share a story. Because I've made that mistake once before. I was actually I was at the gym once, man, working out. Ran to the restroom. I was not paying attention. I had remember the movie White Chicks? I had a White Chicks moment.
I love that movie.
I had a White Chicks moment, man. Like I had to go, boy. It was a White Chicks moment. I'm in there sitting in the stall, and you could look through the crack, right? And I see two females in the room. I'm like, yo, why these chicks in the men's restroom? Like, why in the men's? And then more women kept coming. I'm like,
Oh man.
I went to the wrong bathroom, but I'm blowing it up, dog. Like I'm fucking. It was a white chicks moment. Like, hey, I heard one of them say, "Man, it smells horrible in here," and I'm like, "Am I in there?" Like, my bad. Like so.
Honestly, I've made that mistake before, but as soon as I make that, when I walk in, the first thing when I made the mistake, I realized from that point on, look for urinals. If there ain't no urinals,
look for the urinals.
Get out.
Dude. So like, I had to handle my business, and then as soon as I handled my business, I ran out and ran to the right restroom so I could wash my hands.
Wash your hands. Oh, I'm not touching the door now.
No, it was a pusher. It was a push thing, so I was able to. Yeah. I mean, mistakes happen, man.
Did you run in like this?
Did you run into any women in there though?
Luckily, I did not run into it because that would have been a hard one to explain away, man. But it was a complete accident.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no. So I mean, accidents happen, man. It happens. So, but unless you have a conversation, there's a lot. With no conversation, there's pain, right? Obviously, there was trigger. There's assumptions, and those assumptions run wild. We don't know. You know what I mean? This is just an example of it. Take this specific scenario out. Plug in any other type of misunderstanding. We will never resolve it unless we just have a heart-to-heart kindness. Let's talk. Like, hey, man, you mind? Maybe the next event you are in the same situation. I think it's worth having that conversation, because if we're talking about kindness and we want our community to spread kindness, you said it in the last episode, we got to lead by example. You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell people, hey, get out there, spread kindness, if we don't do it ourselves. You know what I mean? So I just think it's an opportunity to lead by example and have an uncomfortable conversation. And hey, man, it's water under the bridge after that. And then now you can kind of, both people can see it through the other person's lens, and there's an apology probably waiting for you. You know what I'm saying? But you'll never know unless you have that conversation. That's my take on it. What you think, Corey?
Interesting.
Having conversations does bring awareness, but policies do too, right? Like,
very true. Very true.
Here's the thing. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy.
Be that. This is what we do, man. Be that.
You know what I'm saying?
Genevieve jumped on late. She's asking, what are we talking about? Can you just do a quick recap of what you experienced, so she can know what we're talking about, Bobby?
Yes. Hey, Genevieve, I was talking about an incident that happened last week at work. We had a conference, and as I was coming out of the women's restroom, there was like a 6'2" guy with blue hair coming into the women's restroom as I was going out. And while he didn't necessarily scare me, he caught me off guard because I was concerned about him coming into that space, and we were talking about how to address that. How do we address that in the culture that we're living in now?
Hopefully that got everyone caught up, because we had a couple of people that just joined on IG. So that's
hopefully that gave you the meat of the convo.
Yeah, and so and what I have been saying this whole time, Jen, and Sophist 8 that just came in, we live in the times of people are in transition. It is what it is, man. And I shared a story of a friend of mine who was born a hermaphrodite, who their parents chose for that person to be a girl, but they reverse the process to become a man. And just to share that there are some people you don't know who may be going through something that's non-traditional, if you will, right? But you will never know that unless you have that conversation. Because Corey, I think you had a point about policy, and I got something to add to that once you talk about your point.
No, I'm just saying, like I said, I don't want to go there, but I guess I got to go there. Do you guys wear badges when you're in your room? I mean, in the office?
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
He should have a badge that shows that he identifies as boom, where now he has access to this particular thing, because of the fact that if you have that now, then
it's an identifier. It's an identifier. Yeah,
an identifier. That means that, okay, well, okay, this person is has access to this restroom and this restroom, or this person, like, I mean, it's sad. I hate to say it, but
no, you gotta say
we
it,
are,
man.
we are where we are. Because if you want to, you know what I'm saying, if you don't want to get, if people don't want to get their feelings hurt by saying certain things, we gotta know. And something like that, you know what I'm saying, that gotta be relevant. You know what I'm saying? If you have a badge that has, okay, you're not red, you're not blue, you're green, then green has access to red and blue. Have a green dot on your badge saying this, and make everybody a badge. You know what I'm saying? Everybody have their badge. That way they won't feel left out. Everybody has a dot on their badge, and then they have specific dots around the area that who can use what and what. I feel like it's segregation, but unfortunately, if we gonna have to talk about certain things, to make things, you know what I'm saying?
About it, man.
We got to talk about it, and then we got to make it comfortable because we're sharing the same space.
Yeah. I actually think that's a great idea. I mean, there's been a push for diversity and inclusion. I think that's part of it, man. And I did a small stint in HR, right? And I would imagine that I don't know if HR laws and policies have caught up with what we live in today, but that needs to be addressed, right? To where if something was around like what you said existed, I could show my badge, like, hey, I'm sorry, boo-boo, just so you know what's going on. It ain't that type of party. You know what I mean? It would help because I mean, otherwise you would have some people that are in transition, and no one's gonna know, and there could be more uncomfortable situations like that. But if I got something, hey, sorry, you know, I not trying to make you feel uncomfortable, but just what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That way, there's a policy there. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, it may be uncomfortable at first, but however, if everybody abides by the policy and agree to that policy, then that's when laws can be governed and rules can be respected.
Damn it. I keep leaving my governance hat upstairs because I want to put my governance hat on. Damn it. I got
a hat. Don't even wear it.
Hat on. But before I put it on, Genevieve actually had a couple of things she said. Yeah, I definitely see it as a safety concern overall. Just because certain people have none ill intent doesn't mean everyone is doing it for the right reasons. I wouldn't want my little girl being in that situation or in the bathroom and a man can just walk in and share that space with her.
Yeah, so I mentioned that because I'm a girl mom. I have five daughters. 3 of my daughters live with me, 15, 8, and a 5-year-old. And I wish we weren't living in a time where I have to go and inspect the restroom before they go in, but I do, just to make sure.
Unfortunately,
everything's on the up and up. They're big enough to go potty by themselves. I hang out near the hand washing station and wait for them. Is, what we have to do. Sometimes it can get tricky though, because if I go on deployment and my husband is taking care of the girls and he's doing stuff in public with them, and my older daughter's not with us, he ends up having to stay outside the restroom. I guess do like a quick check. He'll have Grace, my older one, go in there and just do a quick check. And if everything's okay, then Mercy can go in there with her and he'll wait on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, good point. Speaking to Corey's earlier point, putting that governance out on there, where we are now, there needs to be policies that specify that.
And I think that they should be posted up too, to where everybody is aware of them.
Yeah.
But also times you don't really come into some of this in public spaces. The only reason why I say that is because if there's a family restroom available, I'll take the girls in there. You know what I mean? So that doesn't, so we don't even have to make waves at this point because we've got this area over here,
Right.
But in the we're in, there's no family restroom because it's a business facility.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, I wanted to speak to Jen's point. She's right. Like, if it's just a man going in there, this is a regular man, that's not cool. It's not acceptable, right? I definitely said that. That's not cool at all.
There's people pushing those envelopes. They're like, oh, well, I identify as this. I'm like, okay, well, you look like you straight homeless. Like you can't tell me that, that you're saying this. Then I'm questioning your intent.
Right.
I'm like, what does that mean? But now you're saying I can't even question you. I am going to question you. Absolutely. If you're definitely not fitting the part, I want to know what you're doing, what you up to.
Yeah, what is your intentions?
Yeah. What's your intent? Oh, I mean, but you got to at least ask, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't ask the question, you'll never know. You know what I mean? Because you can mess around and be like, well, actually, I'm either at the end of transition. I think I have transition. We don't know. We live in that world. But to Corey's point, put the governance hat on. There should be policies that specify if like a matrix, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If this, then that. Like at one point, can someone in transition now be able to go in that restroom? You know what I mean? I am not a professional in that. My policy expertise is in cyber policy, so I don't have to answer.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer, Sway.
I got to answer, Sway, but it should be addressed. You know what I mean? And women, whoever's drafting that type of policy, women should be involved, because I can't speak on that as a man. I don't have that same concern. You know what I mean? So if that's ever a process to create some type of like actual policy, women should be involved with that so they can express their concerns. So that way, all of the variables can be addressed. You know what I mean?
I'm wondering too why this feels very one-sided. I feel like it's very rare to come across a woman who's like, "Yo, what's up, bro?" and is trying to move into a man's space. Even
I know what you're talking about. Like, even if women who identify as men,
very one-sided is all I'm saying. It based off of what I've read, articles I've read, some different.
Can I be honest with you?
News outlets and stuff. It seems very one-sided.
Good point.
Yeah, I can tell you why. Even if a man does uncomfortable, he won't complain.
We won't. Yeah. Even I have an example. I was somewhere. I was actually at one of the VFWs. The one on the Riverwalk, actually.
VFW,
Veterans of Foreign War.
Thank you.
Yes, shout out to all the vets out there. So I was there, and I went into the men's room to handle my business, and there was actually a female in there. With this, I think she was drunk, man. She was on the stall. She didn't even close the stall. She was handling her business, and I just was like, "Oh, okay." Did my business, wash my hands, and I left. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's not the first time I've seen it. I've been, if you ever been there, like at like concerts and like the women's restroom is just super packed. I've seen women go to the men's restroom to go do their thing.
Yesterday, I watched it happen because the line was so long, and it was a mixture of men and women. And then once you got to the front of the line, it went left for women, right for men. But there were a couple women going to the right because they weren't paying attention. And I can hear some of all the women that were in line next to me. They were making sure that there were no dudes up in that restroom. They did not want men in there. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm glad we're all on the same page over here.
Yeah.
But yes, that can absolutely happen when you're dealing with really large crowds trying to use the restroom at once.
It happens.
Yeah,
it does.
It happens all the. I've seen it so many times in my life to where, and Jen brings up a good point. Because who can cause the real damage to the other gender? Good point. I mean, men typically are stronger than women unless you're Bobby's strong. She buff. If you ever get a chance to see her, actually, y'all met before. She came out. You met Jen before.
I was like, I'm buff.
She's a soldier. She's just very humble. She'll mess you up.
I'm not buff, but if I have to, I will put your ass in an arm bar so quick. And I won't even think twice. I will break your arm, be like, yo, my bad. You probably shouldn't have come into this area though.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not acceptable for men to just go into women's restroom. However, we do live in an age where people are transitioning to the other side, right? What do we do then? You know what I mean? But then again, I don't think we know what to do if we don't at least have that conversation. Because if, let's say there's a conversation and maybe you discover a violation, you know what I mean? Then that's a whole different story to where I would hope the men around would help if needed. You know what I'm saying? But again, I think nothing gets solved or resolved if we don't at least ask the question and have that conversation. You know what I mean? Because you like you said, we need to know the intent. Is the intent, hey, you want some funny shit? Or is the intent you're at the tail end of a transition to where you about to be kind of like me, but not quite like me? What's the Kardashian dude that
Bruce Jenner?
Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner. There you go. Are you Caitlyn Jenner now? I mean, like, where can Caitlyn Jenner go? You know what I mean? Like,
which is interesting because actually, Caitlyn Jenner is against males in female sports.
But what about males in female bathrooms?
So much flack for, I don't know about the men and women's bathroom stuff. I don't know, but I remember they got so much flack because they were like, no, because I was in sports and we dominate. Like we dominate, and it's not anything that's offensive. Men are biologically stronger than women. We were created for something entirely different. It's okay to say that. So yes, there is one gender who is of the weaker vessel, and it is okay to say those terms. This is we were created for different things.
Takes, man. I'm gonna keep it real, but most of the time, yes, you're right. But I've seen some that we're like, ooh,
R.I.P. China.
You said what?
R.I.P. China.
China passed away.
China
from WWE.
I remember she passed away or what?
She passed away a while back, bro.
I didn't know that. I remember China, man. She was pretty when I was watching WWF. Back when it was WWF.
He won the world championship title.
I didn't even know that. Know that. So let's wrap this up. Where we at with this? What we doing? How do we resolve? We need policies. I think is something I got from this. And I think we need conversations. And policies.
Yeah.
I prefer conversations and Hennessy, but I mean, I'll settle for conversations and policies.
Well, conversations will happen, and then policies will be created.
There you go. I think so. Can we agree on that?
Yep.
Yes.
I like it. Yeah. What we got next? We still in Make It Make Sense. Let's make this make sense. So last week, or I think the week before that, recently, the Biden administration was able to get $74 billion in student loans approved. More.
Give me my money.
Yeah, man. Give my money. So having conversations with different people, the reason why we're like make it make sense is because there's a few different aspects to this, right? So I think, like, on a personal level, and I'll share a personal story. I've had a student loan forgiven, and it helped me out significantly financially. You know what I mean? But I know there are arguments out there that are against it because it can contribute to the national debt. You know what I'm saying? I'll set it up like that, make that make sense. Let's get that conversation going.
Who you want to go first? Who you want to go?
Bobby look like she want to go.
I want to go. I do have over $20,000 in student loans. I am not looking for somebody to flip the bill for my education. I'm okay with paying it. It's cool if that happens. If it does, it doesn't. I mean, I'm not going to be mad, because I signed on the dotted line saying I would pay for this. So the only thing that has helped was when, for sure, we got to go into like that period of not having to pay for anything, especially during COVID. But you could still pay towards your loan, and it went directly to the principal and not to the interest.
Oh, that's cool.
And stuff, yeah. Okay. So I still paid it because it just went to the principal.
Yeah.
But, okay. Yeah. So my point of view, let me tell you right now, real talk. You know what I'm saying? I personally, I don't have student loans. When I did have student loans, I paid them. I didn't graduate from college, just FYI. However, my wife did graduate several times. We have, student loans. However, I truly believe that, one, education should be free, right? I don't believe I think that's one of the problems in this country that we have. It's like education is extremely put on in front of you, but it's saying like, go ahead, go to school. This is what you should do. But they're not saying go to school and get approved for all these loans where you're going to have to work your job that you go to school for 5 or 7 years just to get out of debt and then make an honest living. So you spend $100,000 in student loans, but you come out of you get a career where you make $60,000 a year.
That's great.
Make it make sense, right?
Make that make sense. Hell yeah.
The career path has to be worth that amount.
You have to look at it.
Has to be worth that amount.
I get that, but also you got to realize not everybody is skilled in everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm that one of the reasons why I was not successful in the traditional college academic areas because I learned different. You know what I'm saying? Somebody tell me to do something.
You shared that before.
Huh?
You shared that before.
Yeah, I learned different. I'm a visualer. I'm not a person who can I can pick up a book, I can read it, I can study it, but when it comes test time, I freeze, right? However, if you go ahead and if I look at videos and I see how this person is moving, give me 5 or 10 looks at that bad boy, I do it just like the person on the video did. But back to what the $74 billion in student loan forgiveness. If we can bail out Walmart during
good point.
And we can bail out all these major corporations, right? And we can bail out all these other football teams and basketball teams and all these other things taking advantage of these tax loops. Why not we go ahead and take care of the people who got these student loans? Why not?
I mean, you bring up a valid point. I didn't even look at that.
I looked at it, brother.
Yeah, good point.
Because when Procter and Gamble got over $30 billion in bailout money,
the auto industry back in what was it, 2009 era time frame, they got bailed out. Good, excellent point. Excellent. So
let's make it make sense. Why are the people who wanted to have a better life and going for education, why aren't they getting bailed out?
Good point.
I think education should be free. But
I'm there with you, man. I'm there with you.
Because real talk. Now let's take it a step further. Those in education should also be put on a higher pedestal than we have for sports and entertainment.
Oh, I agree with that.
Because you have a player who can get an NIL who's in college that gets 100 million. Yet that professor only gets 40, 50, 60, 70 million.
That's crazy.
Right? When that professor retired, they don't get an NIL deal. They don't get the same amount of money they pay. Mm-hmm. They were paid once they once they finish their career, right? What do they get? They get a good 10, maybe 15, 20 years left of their life to be able to live within their means. Yeah. Social Security monitor what's in your bank account.
Yeah,
make it make sense.
Make that make,
you know what I'm saying? And these are the changers of the world.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna sit on my soapbox, I'm gonna sit on my soapbox and just say it like this.
Own it.
You know what I'm saying? We got we got it all messed up. PointBlankPeriod.com put a hashtag on it. We got it messed up because of the fact that
here's where I'm gonna kind of play the devil's advocate for a little bit. I like the idea of what you're saying. I do agree about educators should be definitely on a higher pedestal than like entertainers and stuff. I do agree with you there. I think my only concern is what comes in with free education also comes in a lower quality of education. Sometimes people have a sense of entitlement, and so whenever you get something for free, you're sitting there thinking in your head like, oh, I deserve this. But when you have to pay into something, when you have skin in the game, it's different.
Yeah, 100%.
That's understandable. That's the reason why this bailout is this 74 billion student loan forgiveness is so important because of the fact that these are people who actually done the work. Mm-hmm. They graduated or they went to the class. They racked up the bills. You know what I'm saying? So they know it wasn't free. They knew I had to pay for this. So whether it's a private loan, whether it's a public loan, whether it's a government loan, all of it should be moved. Now, obviously, that shouldn't be the intention going to say, hey, I'm going to go to school and get these loans forgiveness when I do this. No. But if this is an opportunity that comes down the pipeline, let everybody take advantage of it because of the fact that they did the work. It should be as simple as show me your degree, show me how much you paid, your degree is valid, your debt is forgiven. That's simple. It shouldn't be complicated like, oh, you got to get this receipt and you got to go this here and this. No. Super.
Wait, so you're saying to bail out the people who actually completed school? Because there are people. No,
just even anybody? Those who haven't, but they have they have the credits. They have you know what I'm saying, that they did, but they have to, because life be lifing.
Yeah,
people go to school and they have to drop out because of the fact that they gotta go to work or they can't pay for this semester, or they didn't get approved for this loan, or they couldn't take out a second or a third on their mortgage to take care of this. So life be life, right?
Life, yup.
But 70, and this is where some people may agree, but if we can bail out a country, let's bail out our country.
Yeah,
hey, we're gonna take care of people over there. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. You know, y'all fighting wars, but we fighting a war of being famished. We fighting a war of looking at bills.
Yep.
Why can't an American person buy a home because they got student loans? That's right there.
Good point.
Make it make sense. I hope Donald, I hope Kamala, I hope Barack, Michelle, Vance, Walt, all y'all, hope y'all listen to what I'm saying.
Nah, for real.
Of the fact that real spill. This is what it is. We're gonna be able to say an American dream, make it a reality.
Yeah.
Boom.
I'm with that. And just to be clear too, it's not for everybody. This is just for public service positions, teachers, nurses, social workers, veterans, and other public servants. And in an article, and this was from Forbes, the one that we're quoting from, it did mention that these public services, they're kind of using this as like a recruitment tool because there's a shortage of talent in these type of positions. So to your earlier point, especially with the teachers, right? It never made sense to me why they get paid so low. You know what I mean?
They got to deal with so much.
They are the ones that shape the future. Like it never made sense to me why they get paid less than the athletes when they groom the athletes. You know what I mean? Like they give them their basic education. Like you cannot sign off on that contract if you couldn't read it.
Right. Yo,
how to read.
And what's sad is some coaches get paid more than some principals.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's right. I mean, but that just shows here our society where our priorities are. We said that before. You know what I mean? We prioritize entertainment and sports more than we prioritize education. And I mean, it's the proof is in the money, man. Like all the money would be going into education if we honored it the same way we honor entertainment and sports and stuff like that, man.
It's weird for us being such an advanced culture and living in the first world. There are other countries who may not look like the United States in some areas. However, they kick our ass in the education system because their families, it's part of their culture.
Yeah,
you want to be smart. You want to get an education. You know, we talk crap about China, but China is one of them.
You read my mind. I
was going there, man, because you know they kick our butts when it comes to education and stuff, but it's part of their culture.
China, South Africa, Zimbabwe, all of them. Even though I mean, a lot of the prominent doctors come from over there, India, and
Nigeria.
And you said Nigeria, and you said something, culture. I remember when I was in church, one of the pastors was talking because he was a visiting pastor from Africa. I forgot which country in Africa though, but he said that when the kid becomes of age, I think 4 or 5, if the kid can't, I mean, they find out what skill set he's already good at there, and then they cultivate it. So if he's good at numbers, he's able to process faster thinking. They focus on him being an engineer, a doctor. But if he can, you know what I'm saying, he can go out and cut corners, run, grab and help with the food and help with the hunting and everything. So that means like, okay, so he's going to be somebody who's going to be well in labor, and they cultivate that gift. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. That's one thing those cultures do that America doesn't. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to go there real quick. We go pivot and we're going to get back. If you're a rapper, I'm talking to you, rappers, okay? If you're really not that good, find something else that you're good at. You feel me? Because of the fact that what you're doing is you're wasting your God-given gift that you have, trying to believe that you're not something. And you're paying these parents. If you see that your kid is only going to grow to be 5'7", his daddy was 5'7", you 5'2", that means he ain't going to be a basketball player.
Hey, man, I'm 5'7", dog. That hurt.
I'm 5'7.5". But do you see me out there trying to play for the NBA? No, you don't see that. You feel what I'm saying?
Since we're talking about height, your girl here is 5'10".
5'10". You almost qualify to be in the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? But
how's the weather up there?
Right. Yeah, right. But
nice and breezy, baby. Nice and breezy.
But here's the thing. I say that to say this. And Bobby, you made a point of it earlier when we were talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Career paths and things of that nature. When you go to college, don't go to college because of what your parents want you to be. Go to college for what you're good at, that you can sharpen that skill set. And we all know if you're in school and your teacher is telling you talk too much in class, go into communications. Point blank.
Right.
You know
She's seeing you what your gift is.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Yeah. If they say you're a joy to be around, go into public service. Because why? That's your calling.
Yeah.
That's your calling.
Hospitality.
Exactly.
There's a test that you can take. I was talking with a friend of mine.
And I take it every year.
She was telling me that there's a test that you could take that based off of your personality and character traits and stuff. There's a certain career path you should be in based on who you are.
And every time I take that test, it's called I'm looking at 16 personalities. 16 personalities. Yeah, I took it when I worked at.
Wait, and it tells you what career path you should go down.
It tells you, you have to pay for it. You have to pay for the career path part, but the free one that you take, it lets you know where you're dominant in, where you're not dominant. And these questions have nothing to do with the answers nothing to do with what type of personality you are. But when you take it, you find your strong suit. And then I was curious to know what my dominant was. And I went and I paid the extra $30 for it. And I was like, wow, I'm extremely good at what I thought I would be good at. And it was like, you avoid conflict? No, I hate it. I take it head on. And then it was showing like I should be in communications. Because I'm
about that.
But this is something I knew. Why? Because we did music.
Right.
And music is communication. Point blank. You know what I mean? So so there you go. If you want to make your $74 billion bailout worthwhile, take the 16 personalities test.
I like that.
Have your kids take it, and you can take it as you mature. Certain things in life change. This will be a good reset for everybody coming out of the pandemic.
That's good. That's good. The 16 personalities test. I like that.
Yeah,
that's good. We got some comments from Dr. Poole. He just joined us talking about the teachers, right? He said, not all teachers are good teachers and deserve to be paid extra money. There should be some type of way to show the difference between good teachers and bad teachers if teachers are teaching in a state. Teachers
based off of test scores and how the school performs. If the school is performing well, should teachers be paid more versus schools that are like they don't give a damn about their students? You know, I'm not saying that's everywhere, but then there's some students too who don't give a damn about being at school. It sucks. It's a weird.
I disagree, and then I agree. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
If, say for instance, what they can do, and I know that a lot of teachers in LA Unified is taking advantage of this. If you go back to school and if you go back to school to get more credentials, more credits, they will pay. They will pay for you. Not pay you. They will increase your salary, right? Say for instance, you know what I'm saying. If you want to go into being a school principal, the system will suggest you take these courses, right? If you're serious about the job that you do and you want to make a change, money will not hold you back. So you'll find a way to pay the $2,000 or $3,000.
Yeah.
Because of the fact you're paying that $2,000 or $3,000, you will not only open up opportunities for your future in education, also open up your pay, increase your pay, and then when programs like these bailouts come about, you'll be able to take advantage of it.
No, good point. I like that.
Yeah. Because if a teacher don't care, he there just to get a check, he ain't gonna go. He or she ain't gonna go and take the extra steps to get more money because they're there for just a check.
It's a good filter.
Yeah. Shout out Dr. Poole. I feel you.
Dr. Poole. He got to your point too. He said if teachers are teaching in a state where the education continues to decline, then they are bad teachers and there's a bad school board.
No, I think about that on that too, because of the fact that I live with an educator. My wife is an educator. She's a school counselor, and there are some parents. Remember, the parents that are teaching these kids or raising these kids right now are the parents that came after us, after we graduated from high school.
Yeah,
those parents were the ones who were smoking crack in junior high.
Dang,
were they?
Yes, they were.
Nah, they popping pills, man. That was
we were the generation of popping pills. Eminem, D12. blue and yellow, purple pills. We were in the two that we. That's
okay. You right. My fault. My fault. No, you right. You right.
And I say that to say this because our parents were the crack weed babies, right? The free speech,
right. And Quaalude. They had Quaalude.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Our peers who have kids that are growing up now that have kids, not you know what I'm saying? Like your son, he's just now having a kid, right?
He's having one, yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So some of the generations that are, let's say Gen Y parents, right? Because I'm a Gen Y parent, but Gen Y goes all the way to 1996 to 2012, right?
Okay.
So Gen Y parents, we look at the Gen Z parents, huh?
Is that Gen Y or Gen Z?
No, we're Gen Y. 1980 to 1990. Millennials, yeah.
Okay.
But I say the reason why I say that is because of the fact that there's parents that come to the school that know their kid is crazy and will defend their kid.
Yeah,
crazy, and that's not fair because that person will come up to the school and make everybody on that campus raise hell just because their kid who don't respect anybody, who the parents don't even get respect from that child, make them look like they're an innocent angel and they're not.
Yeah.
So we can't blame the school district. We can't blame the school board. We blame the parents. And what do we say, Geronimo? Parents need to what?
Parents need to parent, damn it. Parents need to parent. Parents need
on that note,
parent.
So you know what I'm saying?
I could never be an educator right now because of that, because you see too many parents just don't care. They're like, oh, whatever, they'll be out of my hair in 2 years. Or I've heard a parent say that before. You know what? Do whatever the hell you want, because by the time you're 18, I hope you find a place to live because you ain't going to be here. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I think it's a mixed bag. And I know we got to
Bobby, you'd be surprised. I bet you will probably be a great educator because of the fact you're a great mother. Good point. You would look at all of them kids, and you will look at all of them kids because.
Or I will walk in that classroom and be like, you don't want this smoke. I'm going to tell you right now.
Hey, we need more of that. We need more.
We need more of that because of the fact that. I mean, but here's the thing: you can say that, but then you also got to realize kids hurt because their parents hurt. And what's the phrase? Hurt people hurt people. Mm-hmm. And if they're not healed, they're going to pass on that trauma. Yeah. So you'll get in that classroom being stuck, being hardcore, and you should. But then when you see somebody who's acting out because they're hurting, a different lens come across your eye. Mm-hmm. And then you were like, how can I help this baby? Because they're acting out because they're in pain.
And I got something for you for that.
Go ahead.
We were talking about kindness. We were talking about conversations. You would never know that if you're in that situation, if you don't have that conversation with that kid to see what's really going on. Because that can be a perfect opportunity to give that child some kindness that they may not be getting from home, which could change the whole course of everything going on. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it comes right back around, man. Hey, I'll hit you with this because, I mean, parents don't need to parent. And I will always say that, right? However, on some real hood shit, right? Saying something you said before, sometimes, man, parents in the hood, they just overwhelmed, especially because Dr. Poole is commenting about, the school situation in California. Dude, till this day, I'm always trying to figure out how the hell did my parents do it? Like, they raised 2 kids in LA. Dude, LA has always been expensive. Like, I'm afraid to go back to LA because it's so expensive. They were always working. You know what I mean? They call us the latchkey kids because they were working. They working, going to school. Like, I can only imagine even the parents that are, that we birthed, right? That are now becoming parents. How much of that has changed? Are they not still working, just trying to survive? They can't even think about thriving. They're just trying to survive to where maybe that impacts the amount of engagement they can have with that kid. Some real shit, man. You know what I mean?
Real.
Like,
it's real. And it's not just California. All across the country is the same story. The only reason why I say it's hit a little bit more so because California is expensive. You know what I'm saying? But that's where you need the communication and unity. That means that, you can be able to call them like, hey, I ain't got it this week. Well, what you need, baby girl? I got you. You know what I'm saying? That could be an auntie talking to another auntie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
the problem is we have to realize that it's not a plain lane. Everything is different. This road is bumpy. You know what I'm saying? And we will need people in the end, especially if it's not us. You know what I'm saying? When I say it's not us, I mean I need you, you need me. Let's get together and make it work. You know what I'm saying? I remember there was times where I used to go over my auntie, you know what I'm saying? Go over my auntie and my cousin's house. And I don't know if it was just because of the fact that we like going over there. It could have probably been because of my fact that my auntie was cooking and my mama didn't want to eat what they want to eat. But she knew that we at the house. We didn't probably have anything. I don't know. I didn't know. We weren't aware. But once we, you know what I'm saying? But what we did know is we had community. And what you need, you know what I'm saying, in any village, you need a community.
I hear you.
And our boy Gmo is trying to get back on. He's playing yo-yo with his camera.
I'm here, man. It's just I don't know what happened. Y'all can hear me though, right?
Yeah, we can hear you. But you know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and put a pin in it for tonight.
No, good point. Good point.
Well, right at the 2-hour mark, gentlemen, 2-hour mark. So definitely put a pin in it.
Yeah,
especially since the camera will come back on. So, hey, another great episode.
Yeah, another great episode, as he was saying.
Thank you for tuning in to Technically Speaking. So make sure you check us next week. It is the day before election.
The election next week. We're gonna have some. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be big.
Yep.
So,
oh yeah.
Exercise your right to vote if you haven't.
Get out there and vote. Don't care who you vote for, just vote. Damn it.
Yeah.
No. Be wise with your power.
Yes.
Be wise with your power. That's what I will say. Bobby, take us off. How can they find you?
You can find me at bobby.lopez.5 on Instagram, Bobby Lopez on Facebook, and you know what? Shout out to me on LinkedIn. If you wanna connect with me professionally, if you want to get some insights onto anything in the tech world on what we're doing cybersecurity, information security wise, hit me up. I'll help give you some direction and some guidance if you're trying to lean down that career path. So I encourage you to be bold and be kind to people. So remember those 3 S's we talked about last week. If you want to be successful, you're going to need salvation, struggle, and sacrifice. A little bit of self-discipline in there too, and get you where you need to be in life. Blessings out to you all. Shout out for everybody.
Thank you, Bobby. And at Gmo, the man with no camera, man.
It just quit on me, man. Hey, y'all can reach me on all platforms except for TikTok, because I don't do TikTok, at tech_Von_go. Hit me up. Again, we got a couple of properties out here. If you're looking for somewhere to rent in the upscale neighborhood, holler at me. And Corey, where can they reach you at?
You can find me at Corey Giovanni at TikTok, YouTube, IG, that means Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and the YouTube. I think I said that, but I want to say it again, because what you guys need to do is like, comment, subscribe, and share, because we're giving you news that you can use. And I'm out.
We are out. Episode 25. Let's go.